live stream right here at the Work FM on Facebook. And I'll talk to you all again Monday at 7. The following program was produced elsewhere and is being rebroadcast on WRWK.
Oops. Well, we didn't mean to say that. No, this is a live broadcast, and this is yours truly, the producer, Ron. And I'm hanging out in front of this camera because real, true celebrity belonging here, I'm holding place for her. That is, of course, the inimitable Lisa. She's probably chuckling to herself as she drives here, breakneck speed, to get here for the show. She said, just give me 3 minutes and I'll be there. So, folks, in 3 minutes, you'll have Lisa instead of me. Right now, you're going to have me talking about WRWK, LPFM, The Work FM. You want to know why we call it The Work? Because our work on this lovely little planet where life exists, and one of the few rocks we can see from where we are that has life on it. It is our honor and pleasure to be here holding forth under stewardship principles so that the next generation can have a good life like ours. I'm not here to have a good time just for myself. No, that is a version of the world we see. It's very popular. Distraction and whatnot keep us from remembering that we're alive on a planet that has life, and we have to kind of make this work, you know? I call myself a secular Christian. Hope that doesn't offend anybody, because I think Jesus didn't say, worship me. He said, work like me. Work like me. Make things happen. If you read the Beatitudes, or your version of that, whatever religion you are, there's a version of the Beatitudes. Take care of the poor. Take care of the weak. That's what we should be doing. And that's what the station is here for, is to help us organize things around the principles that live forever. Not the ones that fill your pocketbook down, make you chuckle at the movies tonight, maybe even have a good time for a couple of years, taking cruises and spending things on yourself. That's fine. That's fine as far as it goes. But if you don't leave something behind for the next person, you may have missed something. Anyway, aren't you glad you don't have to listen to me all the time? So at WRWK LPFM, we have a Facebook page called The Work FM. If you go there, you'll see a button that says Contact Us. And you click on Contact Us, it'll take you right to our PayPal link, and you can give us a little solid love in the form of dollar bills. We are not socialists. We believe in paying our way, and we pay our way just as, oops, I hear Lisa coming in. You'll have her in front of you soon. I'll give her a moment to compose herself. Like Beethoven, when she composes herself, I'll put her on the loop. Right now, you'll have to put up with me and my yammering on about something I really believe in. This station was a labor of love. Took us years to get the license, only to be closed down a year ago, roughly, because of this COVID thing. And we had to go pretty much remote. Lisa and another show later today are the only people that come in to the studio to do shows anymore. And we really enjoy that because there's a lot of chemistry. I don't know if you remember the last station break, top of the hour, we actually had a full choir in here, including 2 sopranos and 4 or 5 instruments, and they sang us out. They sang the top of the hour, WRWK LPFM, in true soprano form. And that was about 3 years ago in this very studio, back before COVID, when it was still safe to breathe on each other. And of course, you know, conspire, that comes from the word to breathe together. So we all conspire to have a good time here and to enjoy ourselves here. We don't conspire to do each other in or to do each other out of their things. We conspire to make the planet that works by building out of the parts that work. And it's a lot more fun than tearing it down. We don't buy Kalashnikovs expecting everybody wants to shoot us. We buy Valentines and expect everybody wants to give us a hug. Get back, don't hug me, I might have COVID. That's not true. I was just sort of ad-libbing. No, I had my vaccine. I look forward to the time when everybody is immune and this very bad flu, which kills some people, has gone away. But, you know, it's a chance for humans to refocus their attention from fun and games like Pinocchio to, gosh, let's be adults here and let's enjoy this and pass something useful on. Pass something useful on. Anyway, I'm sorry. That's the moralist side of me. I will relinquish my control of this whole apparatus as soon as I get somebody behind mic 3. Do I have somebody on mic 3?
Is that me?
That's you.
Hey. Ron, you're very good at ad-libbing. Thank you. Thank you so much, Ron, my remarkable Ron, my producer. And welcome to this edition of Richmond Business Babes here on WRWK 93.9 FM, The Work. I am your host, Lisa Linnell, and today we have a really exciting show lined up. We're going to be talking to designing women, so to speak. We're going to have a fresh start to art and design. It's spring. It's time to kind of freshen up the look of our homes, freshen up the feel. And so at the top of the hour, we're going to have two ladies who formed a collaboration of sorts, a partnership. They are Tracy DeShazo and Rebecca Constanzo. And they have united together to form the company Deco Collective. And I'm saying Deco. I don't know if it's pronounced Deco or Deco. So they're going to let me know which way that is actually pronounced.
My guess is Deco.
Like Art Deco.
Sounds cooler.
It sounds cooler, yeah. So, Ron, you would know about cool. So I don't know anything about cool. So that's going to be really fun to talk to them. They've been recently featured in Our Home magazine. And our Home, if you're listening, it's the letter R as in Richmond. It's not our, O-U-R, like Our Home. So Our Home magazine, which is an offshoot, of course, of Richmond magazine. And so we'll get to talk with them. And then at the bottom of the hour, we are going to meet Diane Williams. And Diane is a painter, an artist who paints. And she paints furniture, she paints ceilings, she paints walls, she stencils, she paints floors. So it's going to be really cool to meet Diane and let her tell us all about her painting business. So that'll be at the bottom of the hour. So glad you're tuning in here on Richmond Business Babes. And as we like to do, if we can, we like to feature something that's happening in the news locally here. And so on March 9th, I came across an article in the business section of Richmond Times-Dispatch titled New Project to Collect Information from Black-Owned Businesses in Richmond to Support Their Growth. And what it is about is we have a lady here who made the quote, "We are all guilty of making a lot of assumptions around the needs of Black-owned, around the needs of Black business owners, when in fact we don't have data collected from Black business owners to say what is needed." And that quote was from Melody Short. She is co-owner of the Richmond Night Market and co-founder of the Jackson Ward Collective, which is an organization founded last year by Black businesses in the city. So basically what they're doing is they're seeking out information from owners of Black businesses to kind of get a baseline as to, you know, where to start with this initiative. And the initiative is using an online survey to collect information about Black-owned businesses in the city. It also is hosting a series of 6 online meetings that have been scheduled to get feedback from Black business owners. So I think that's really important. The project's being backed by groups such as Startup Virginia, which is its own nonprofit supporting entrepreneurs in the area. It's receiving funding from the Altria Group, the Community Foundation for a Greater Richmond, and Dominion Energy. And it's receiving in-kind support. I got to look that up, what that means, in-kind support. Do you know what that means, Ron?
As opposed to cash, something you can do because of what you want, like off radio time, conceivably.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I couldn't because I'm up the FM, but if you were a cobbler, you make a shoe. If you were a seamstress, you make a dress.
Okay. So the in-kind support, though, is coming from Capital One Financial Corporation. So I'm wondering what that is exactly. But anyway, if you're interested in taking the survey, The survey is available online at www.bboirichmond.com. That was www.bboirichmond.com. And if you go there, you can take that survey. And again, the initiative is using an online survey to collect information about Black-owned businesses in the city of Richmond, and I guess the surrounding areas as well. So anyway, I thought that was pretty interesting. I just want to pass that on. Now, since we are going to be talking to three very artistic and creative ladies, I did a little research about the hot design trends of 2021. And I'm just happy if I have like a vase of flowers in my house or something, a bowl of fruit that's not molding or something. But anyway, the hot design trends. Ron, would you like to guess what would be a hot design trend for your home in 2021?
Well, I was going to say fashion masks, but maybe I'm off base.
Well, yeah, that's a given these days, right? So, there's do's and there's don'ts. So create a personal sanctuary. And that kind of is, part and parcel of what you're saying about masks and COVID and everything else. Nowadays, we are all feeling so stressed and just wanting to kind of cocoon, relaxed in our own homes and not stressed out. So it says create a personal sanctuary where you can retreat, rest, and ease your mind from uncertainty and anxiety. That's a bathtub, I think, right? Is that what it is? Personal sanctuary. And they recommend soothing colors for that. So what's a don't? Do you know what a don't in the design trends of 2021? And this, by the way, is according to the annual 2021 design trends developed by Frog Tape, which makes painting tape, in collaboration with celebrity interior designer Tanya Nyack. I don't know her.
I didn't get mine this month.
What?
I didn't get my copy this month.
Your copy?
I failed to read that. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Well, that's all right. All right. He's stalling.
I'm going for plants.
All right. Well, that's a good one. Plants. And remember, we had the pomona plants.
We had coffee there today.
Oh, tell us about that. That's more interesting than what I'm saying.
It's a delightful little place. Of course, things have slowed down a bit, and it was raining outside, so we couldn't. There's only one dry seat on the patio. But they made coffee for us, and they custom little barista machine. They ground it for us.
Oh, nice.
And then made it and steamed the coffee.
I bet that was really good.
It was a guess. Actually, my sister had it.
I had Sandy. Hi, Sandy.
Sandy's floating around somewhere listening to us probably. And they had a pound cake that was green.
Oh, what was in it? Oh, because of St. Patrick's Day?
I think so. I forgot the recipe. Now they had it posted there. It was slightly unusual. It was very dense little pound cake, tasty, nice frosting, mild frosting. But it was our sort of pastry of the morning.
That's nice. And that was Pomona Plants.
It was full of plants. They had plants.
North Churchill, I think, is where it is. Is it Venable Street?
Venable Street. Yeah.
Venable Street. Okay.
That's towards the bottom, towards the west end of Venable Street. As you're going up the hill on the right side.
And Melissa owns that. McCoo. Melissa McCoo, and that she's it's a husband and wife. I can't remember his name now.
I didn't see her. I saw him. I left the car.
Okay. Oh, good.
He was cooking things in the corner, so I didn't bother him. But
yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, it was a cute little place.
And
like to think, one thing that struck me about the place, they had a box out in front for a community kitchen. If you were hungry,
yes.
If you wanted a snack, there was a fridge out there.
Yes, I want to have that gal on. That was the article you showed me in the Free Press, right? Was that it? Yeah. I read it, and she was very interesting. Very interesting lady. So very shortly here, actually, I think they're a little late, the design ladies. They should be. Oh, they're coming up now. Okay, yay. So
1 and 2.
Okay. Well, hello, ladies, and welcome to Richmond Business Babes.
Hey, Lisa. Thanks for having me.
And let me just have a moment here to introduce you two gals, because I'm so excited to have you. We have two ladies who have formed a partnership. We have Tracy DeShazo, who I interviewed years ago on Richmond Business Babe. So welcome back.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Oh, good. It's great to have you back. And then we also have Rebecca Constanzo. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Pretty close. Yeah, Costanzo.
Constanzo. Okay. And they are the owners of, and I'm going to say Deco Collective or Deco Collective?
Deco Collective.
Deco, like Art Deco. Okay. So,
or like DeShazo and Costanzo.
That's good. That's good. So these two gals have a very long history of being designers, and Rebecca is an architectural designer, which we're going to explore what the difference is between that with what Tracy does, which is interiors. But I think it just all kind of melds into one. But the cool thing is they have been they have been promoted in publications all over RVA. Most recently, was it Our Home or Richmond Magazine? I think it was Our Home, right?
Well, I was in Our Home, and then we did a piece for Style Weekly.
Style Weekly, and I saw the photo, and it was so cool. And went online, of course, and looked at all of your work, and Tracy and Rebecca, and all of the work is so vibrant and uplifting and upbeat, and that's just what we need right now. But let me tell the Richmond Business Babes audience here on WRWK a little bit more about you before I officially bring you on. So Rebecca, she was published and exhibited in low-rise, high-density housing in New York. So she's obviously originally from New York. Institute for Public Architecture in New York. Her design experience is, she has her own company, and she also had Water Street Studio in Virginia. She was also with Stantec Architecture in DC, and another architectural firm, Winsteck Architects and Planners in DC. She has a master, I guess, MA of architecture, BA, or MS, I guess. MA, you can tell me, from Columbia University, and then a BA from William and Mary. Now, Tracy has done so much and has been featured extensively on CBS Virginia This Morning, HGTV, House Trends, the Richmond Times Dispatch. I had an article that I just wanted to hold up. This is just a little one on Tracy here. It has my writing all over it, so it's kind of embarrassing. I shouldn't even show you. And she has her own business, Tracy DeShazo Interiors. So welcome, ladies. So let's talk about how you formed the Deco Collective. It was you were working on a job together in Goochland, is that right?
Well, I'll let Rebecca start because her family is instrumental as to why she and I have formed a partnership. So take it away, Rebecca.
All right. So when I was doing my apprenticeship in architecture, Tracy started helping my parents to redesign the interiors of their home. And so, I'd come home and visit and see the beautiful work that Tracy was doing. And so we started to kind of connect there. We have a shared aesthetic. And I think, if you're a parent and you grew up with a creative, child, maybe you're more apt to understand working with a designer. So it was just kind of a natural thing. And my parents kept saying, you gotta, think about working with Tracy. And so this has been 7 years that they've been saying that. And then the pandemic brought us together. I came back to Richmond, and it just kind of was the right timing. And as we started talking more deeply about our interests, we just realized, how much our shared vision aligns. So it's just been a wonderful partnership and a really happy way to spend the pandemic is kicking off this business with Tracy.
Well, that's exciting. So the pandemic brought us together. It almost sounds like Creature from the Black Lagoon, the pandemic brought us together. It's just like, yeah. So, but I mean, it obviously is a good thing. So you were, and you go by Rebecca or Becca, which
Rebecca, yep.
Rebecca, you were in New York at that point or DC at that point?
Well,
Back to
when I
Richmond.
met Tracy, I was probably working in DC. I did my training up in New York, but I'm from Richmond and always trying to get back down here. And Richmond has, a wonderful architecture scene, but there weren't as many opportunities in Richmond. So forming our own company allowed me to be back here, and it's just such a treasure. It's such a treat and a pleasure and a privilege to make an impact in this town. So, yeah, exciting.
I like that. Treasure, treat, pleasure, and
I think I was trying to say them all at once.
I like that.
It's fabulous.
And yes, hello. So Tracy, so Rebecca kind of set this up for you to come in here and now tell us. So she came back to Richmond during the pandemic,
Right.
and who were you just sitting around having a drink saying, yeah, well, what's your next job? I don't know.
I probably was sitting around having a drink. Rebecca wasn't.
Okay.
I might have been having a couple of drinks. No.
Bubble up to the surface where you said, well, let's just
point apart. So really Rebecca's mom, who just is one of my most favorite people, kept saying, you and Rebecca really need to get together. And Rebecca with COVID, and then she came back to Richmond. She sent me a little email and said, hey, I'm back in town. If you need someone to do renderings or whatever. And I was like, oh my gosh, let's talk. So really led to another. And really through that conversation, we realized that we really have so much in common. And, we both love Richmond. We're both have a special place in our heart for amazing architecture. And like my journey has been, I think there's an opportunity in Richmond to have right-sized homes. So it's like, we build all these big homes that a lot of times are void of personality and they're too big for the people that live in them. They don't know how it's like, we've got this big house, now what? So, as we talked, we really discovered that we're so passionate about homes that are right-sized, where they really work for, the spaces work for the people and the people work for their spaces. And they're just, the workmanship is, amazing. There's bespoke details, and you can really get that if you build a right-sized home, right?
That is true. And I'm going to interject a thought here, which is a kudos to my husband, David Linnell, because he said a long, long time ago, because we are in definitely a right-sized home. We are in a small cottage, okay? But he said the bottom line is there's 3 rooms that you wind up using 95% of the time. The kitchen, the room you watch TV in, whatever you want to call that room, and your bedroom, and of course the bathroom. But that's it. Those 3 rooms, those are the key to every home, and everything else is superfluous.
Sure. So it's like psychologically, I think where we we listen to outside voices that say, you need to live in this size house because you need all this space. And a lot of people, whether it's the builder or the designer or the architect, you don't spend a lot of time really trying to understand how are you really going to live in this house? Because we sort of all have preconceived notions of how we're supposed to live in our house. And then reality sets in. And so then someone like me gets a call and they're like, we just, bought this home or whatever. We want you to come make it pretty. And then a lot of times through that process, what I do is they invite me in their home and we walk through the whole thing. So I understand how they live. And probably about, I'd say maybe 5 times, I'd have to say to clients, people, prospects, I can make this house look pretty, but it's still not going to work for you. So and
what is the response when you say that? Do they say, huh? Or
they do. They're like, I said, because what I've heard, I always turn it back to, here's what I've heard you say.
Yeah.
All of these things have nothing to do with making it look pretty. the space
Yeah.
don't really work. So, I would suggest, you either remodel or you move.
Ooh.
I want you to spend good
You
money.
lose a lot of clients that way, Tracy? And Rebecca, are you kind of nudging her going, hey, hey?
No, it's perfect because with our partnership, we can really help people avoid that mistake, and we can come in from the beginning. And we want to work with developers and builders to really make this an integral, process. So Tracy,
Yeah.
you can
Yeah.
continue.
So Lisa, to your question, or sometimes clients are like, oh, I can't believe you're, so like you're saying that, but I'm like, well, that's the reality. I don't want you to spend money for a solution that isn't the right solution. And making a space look pretty that doesn't work for you is making a space look pretty that doesn't work for you. And that's not what you want. So,
Right. Oh, that's so good.
So I let them deselect, right? I have to be upfront and educate people, right?
Yeah.
Here's what's actually the problem and the solution that you want to solve the problem.
That's excellent. Now let's break out the partnership. So Rebecca, you're an architectural designer. Is that your title?
Yes, I'll be a licensed architect this year. So.
Oh, that's exciting. Well, congratulations. So and Tracy, you're an interior designer. So when you work with a builder, are you like it's pre the house being designed? Are you starting with the blueprint level, or do you come in different phases, or how does that work?
So for Deco Collective, our vision and our goal really is to design houses that ultimately, just starting out, will partner with the right builder to bring that house to fruition, right? Mm-hmm. But if somebody, refers a person to us and says, oh, we've got land and we want to build a house, but we want something different and unique, we have the bandwidth to do that as well.
Yeah.
And so I'll say we don't want to be the biggest. We just want to be the best at what we do. So if we're going to design 3 amazing properties a year versus 30 houses that still don't meet the right need, that's the lane that we want to swim in. So we will design the house. So we're working on a concept house. And
what
did you say, Lisa?
I said, I love when you say the lane you want to swim in, because the last time you were on this show, which was probably like 2.5 years ago, you said that, and I was like, oh, that's really profound. I had never heard that expression before, and then you said it again. And it's funny, Tracy, because what was popping into my mind when you were describing, 3 houses versus 30, but the appropriate house for the right usage for the customer. What popped in my mind? I don't know if you ever saw Coal Miner's Daughter, but at the end of the movie, Loretta Lynn and I think her husband's name was Dew. They were about to break up, but they were standing on land that they bought, and they're saying, well, we're going to build, and the door, the bedroom's going to be in the front. And they were arguing, and she's like, well, you can't have the bedroom in the front because when you wake up in the morning, the lights get, and they were, and that just popped into my mind because I thought that's part of it. Even just the way the house faces and the light and everything like that.
Oh my God. That is Rebecca's like, She's all about tell her what you're all about, Rebecca.
Tell me.
Yeah, well, I mean, just exactly what you said. It's about how you live and your experience of your home. But I do see a building as kind of a frame of daylighting and nature, and it can be used also to reduce your heating and cooling bills if you orient your house the right way. But we also want to encourage the wonderful people who have invested in buying smaller homes in the inner ring suburbs of the 40s, 50s, and 60s, that those homes have good bones and are solid and well crafted. And we want to help those people to bring them up to the way that they live today. So, we really, we have a lot of passion for well-built homes, and whether that's new construction or with the inventory that we have in Richmond, we're so
Right.
lucky to have.
Transforming an existing home. So let's talk about the business end of the business. Now, do you both still maintain your original businesses separately or not?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a bit of a
Okay.
Venn diagram.
Correct. Yeah. So,
Okay.
so really, you have to think about it. Our forming a collective happened over several months, and so we're kind of doing it the old-fashioned way, which is not the norm. But we did a great marketing piece, and we're doing handwritten notes to people, and we're networking and connecting. And if it weren't for COVID, we'd be doing a lot of this in person. But we've had multiple Zoom videos, and so I'll say, we may have to kiss a few frogs to find our prince. Right? But that, we're putting it out there. And I think for us, it really is more about people who share our passion and our vision.
We're being very selective. I love that.
Come along with us and just like they feel it in their bones like we do, versus trying to just make something happen that isn't
right. You're not burning and churning.
We really do want to offer, a different experience, a holistic approach to how people live.
So do you have a two-tiered level of customer base? Like, is your primary customer the homeowner, or is your primary customer maybe the builder who is actually either building or renovating? Who's your...
So when you think about it, it really all comes down to the end user, right? Because that's who the house is going to impact, right? So even if it's a partnership with a builder, we're still building that house for the end user, right? But if the end user came to us and said, "Hey, we will be able to offer the entire package," so like design build, right? So whether we may not be the builders, but we're going to be the ones that are in the driver's seat in terms of spearheading the collaboration.
I see.
And it's definitely holistic, right? So with Deco Collective, it's new builds and whole house remodels.
Okay. So are you in the midst of a project at this time?
We're trying to secure some land and talking to a couple of builders. So.
Oh, are you able
vetting.
to tell us who, or not yet, or where maybe?
No, we're looking. Go ahead, Rebecca.
Yeah, it's interesting to kind of see what the niches are in Richmond right now, and I think it's it's likely that it could be close in Goochland. We're also looking in the city, but we're more thinking about who the client would be. Is it a retiree couple that their kids visit a couple times a year, or is it a young couple without kids, or a young family, or who is the client? And so we're trying to match up all those things, but we want to put out our vision as a concept that we're testing, and I think we're gonna really fill an unmet need in Richmond's housing market. So
yeah.
Very good. Well, before we let you go here on Richmond Business Babes, you said something very profound at the beginning of the show, which is the pandemic brought us together. I love that. So when the pandemic brought you together, what challenges did you foresee, and what challenges do you believe will be happening going forward? And how did you address those, and tell us how you've perhaps even overcome the initial ones?
So I think for me, this has been a long journey. I've been probably talking to anybody who would listen about the frustration I have. And it's not just me, it's listening through. It came by listening to clients and working with clients and realizing that there are a lot of people that live in homes that don't really work for them, but you got to live somewhere. And I just feel like with COVID happening, people were all in our homes, right? And we're all getting to know our homes very intimately. And a lot of people didn't like what they saw. It's like, because honestly, it's like you live in a house, but do you really live in a house? COVID really forced us, most of us, to live in our house and get to know it.
24/7.
Yeah, and for a lot of people, it was like, oh, great, yeah, this is perfect. It's a perfect setup. But for a lot of other people, it's like, oh my God, this doesn't work. We've got to remodel, renovate, whatever. So I feel like it's been on my heart for years to really. It's sort of like it's time. Like a good idea isn't a good idea unless you take the idea and you implement it, and that's what we're going to do, right?
Right.
We feel like there is a void. How will we know that? We will build it and see if we're right. And I think that we are, because
I love everything you're both saying. And I have to say, Tracy, you should write a book, because you should call it Tracyisms.
Oh my God,
I
that is so funny.
I have a list of Tracyisms.
I'll tell you, that is too crazy. And Rebecca, is there anything you would like to add to what she said, or even encouragement for other fellow business owners, male or female, doesn't really matter, entrepreneurs, during this strange time that we're in? What kind of words of encouragement might you provide, Rebecca?
Well, you said something at the beginning of the show about bringing some joy and cheer, and I think that was one of the things that drew me to Tracy's work. Like, she is a master with color. And, it's things that you don't think fit together, but it just comes together, and the spaces make you feel so happy. And I think as people look around at their homes and how they want to live in their homes, I think it's just important to remember what is it that makes you happy? And it may not be a prescribed, cookie cutter thing. And so we're definitely, we have a lot of fun when we work together, and our clients have a lot of fun. And so we're just trying to spread that joy and, bring that into people's home experience. So,
and maybe the next step will be to get a VCU intern to document it, and then you'll be on TV.
Oh my God. Yeah, we'll start a whole new network.
Yeah, I love it. So I want to thank you ladies both for coming on Richmond Business Babes. Awesome. We are talking to Tracy DeShazo and Rebecca Constanzo, owners of Deco Collective, and they also own their own businesses separately. So thank you for taking the time to come on and share a little love and a little excitement and a positivity for the future. We really appreciate coming on Richmond Business Babes.
Thank you, Lisa. It was fun. We appreciate it.
A lot of fun.
Always fun with you, Tracy, for sure. And you too, Rebecca. You're a new one, but we got you down.
All right. Cheers.
Thank you.
All right. See ya. Thanks.
Bye-bye now.
Bye.
I remember talking to Tracy. She's like one of my top 10 guests from when we started the show, because Tracy DeShazo, because she just had all these cool, what I call Tracyisms. And that's what Rebecca was saying too. So that's just so funny, her partner, Rebecca. So that, all the best to both of them with, Deco Collective. I think they're going to be great, doing great with that. And then coming up now is our next guest, which is Diane Williams. And Diane Williams actually had told me on the phone that she actually had worked with Tracy DeShazo in designing and helping her with her design vision. And Diane is International Decorative Artisans League. She's affiliated with that. She finished a 3-year term on the board and 1 year as the president of the International Decorative Artisans League, which is has 1,000 members. So that's a very big deal for that. And I went on her website, Art to Die For, Diane Williams' website, and how prolific is she? She paints ceilings, she paints floors, she paints walls, she stencils, she paints furniture. So I am so thrilled that Diane Williams of Art to Die, as in DI, as in Diane, for is here on Richmond Business Babes. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm very happy to be here.
Oh, we're happy to have you. So you are a true artist, but yet you're a businesswoman as well. You're making money doing what you love and loving what you do.
Yes.
So tell us when you started and the career journey that you have been on thus far.
I am a decorative painter, and so I've had my own business, Art to Die for over 20 years now. And I got started when my husband and I bought our first home. I was a furloughed flight attendant looking for something to do. So my husband and I bought a home, and I started decorating and painting, and my neighbors and friends would say, "Oh my goodness, where'd you get that?" And I said, well, I did it. I painted it. And that's basically how it got started. I decided that I really loved it. And I thought maybe I can make a business out of this. And so then I started attending, traveling to take classes and, art and design classes. And it's just gone on from there. It's a definite word of mouth business. Somebody sees something that you've done in their friend's home, and then they're like, wow, who did that? And that's how it all got started.
That's fantastic. And I remember you said 20 years ago. So right around that time, if my memory serves me correctly, Diane Williams of Art to Die For, there was a movement where you would, and I can't remember the name of it, but where you would, a trend where you'd paint your wall, but it would look almost like old stucco. What was that? Do you know what I'm talking about? It was like the walls would have an aged look, and they'd be, the tonal quality be very three dimensional, like stucco would look. Or
there's so many plasters out there that will achieve that look. And yes, it was very, the Tuscan feel was very in back then. I think that's what you're talking about. So a lot of times it was done with a plaster or even with a drywall compound, and you would trowel the texture onto the walls and then use a couple colors of glazes, which are very translucent paints. In whatever color matched your style. Usually the ochre yellows and the the earth browns, those kind of colors.
Did you do any of that?
Of course I did.
I always like that look. It's kind of like an Italian restaurant, I guess, or something. I don't know.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I always like
exactly
that look.
what it's like. Yeah.
And then I was in someone's home. It was my brother and sister-in-law's home, and this might have been in the 90s. I don't know. It was definitely at least the O's, but and they had columns in their living room, and they weren't marble, but they were painted to look like marble. And I'm telling you, it looked fantastic. Do you do that?
That's a trend that it was done a little more often. It has faded away, but it is coming back like crazy. Marbling, which is the official definition of faux painting, is painting something to look like something else, like painting those columns to look like they're marble, or painting your fireplace mantle to look like it's wood grains. That is faux painting. And it is definitely in our area having a resurgence. I have actually 4 10-foot columns in someone's family room down in the fan coming up that I'm going to marbleize. Yeah.
Good. That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
So trends obviously come and go and come back again. So what, besides the marbling, what is another hot design trend that you're working on these days?
Metallics are very hot. Metallic plasters. And they've been hot for a while, and they're not going anywhere. Plasters that are troweled on the wall, done with plasters that have mica flakes in them, or glittery, shimmery pieces. So as you apply them to the wall, they have a wonderful shimmer shine to them. They're very elegant. Those are a standby. Everybody always loves those, and they're beautiful for ceilings because if your light fixture, if the light shines up toward the ceiling, it highlights all of that glow and shimmer. So that's one of my favorite things to do on a ceiling.
Do you have handy any kind of portfolio that you could?
I grabbed a couple of sample boards I can hold up and show you. I don't know how well it's all going to translate, but we'll give it a shot.
Okay. And for those who are listening, whether in the car or at home on the radio, WRWK 93.9 FM, also live. So this will be on video on our Facebook page later today. So,
So this is one of the plasters, and can you see the shimmer and the shine as the light is hitting it?
Is that a feather or is that?
That's actually a stencil done with copper leaf. It's better there. Yeah. So this is one of the metallic plasters that it's actually several different colors of metallic plaster, and it has that wonderful shine and shimmer to it. Here's another one done in different colorways, and it has a pattern on it with glass beads. Let me see if I can bend it. Can you see the glass beads?
Like that?
This is perfect for, say, a dining room ceiling and a center medallion like this around the chandelier.
Oh, yes.
It's perfect for that. It's a very elegant and sophisticated thing for your dining room ceiling. Because a lot of people, you've heard the ceiling is the fifth wall. And so, and ceilings are there. I love to plaster
walls I've got. I'm not the fifth wall. I'm just still dealing with my 4 walls. That's nice, though. I like that. Very nice. So let's talk about the business aspect of making money doing what you love, Diane Williams of Art to Die For. So you don't, it doesn't appear that you spend much money marketing because it's mostly word of mouth. So that's fantastic.
Right.
And let's talk about materials and the cost of materials, your labor and the pricing. Do you struggle with that? Do you ever make mistakes and think, okay, I'm going to, price this at such and such fee because I don't think it'll take me this long and this much material, paint, whatever, foil, but then you're wrong and
why yes, Lisa, that does happen.
Say no.
I've been doing this long enough that I have a pretty good feel for how long a project is going to take me. And I kind of worked out, I know how many square feet I can stencil in a day. And so then you take the square feet of the room, and that helps me decide on, it's going to take me 5 days, so the price will be this. And then you look at what products are used, whether it's just a regular paint and you only need a quart of paint, or sometimes if you're using plasters, the plasters can be much more expensive to use, and you use more of them. So it's definitely done on a project by project basis. How big your room is and what products you choose.
That makes sense. Now, you have to have a certain kind of insurance because you might wind up spilling paint on their rug. Or, I don't know.
You better. If you're a decorative,
the room and the paint can fell over. I don't know. Just that's what I'm thinking.
Yes, knock on wood. I've never had to use mine, but if you are a decorative painter working in someone's house, you had better have insurance. Like, say you fall off your ladder and you break a lamp on the way down, your insurance will cover the lamp. You'll have to use your own insurance to go fix your broken leg, but the insurance will cover the broken lamp. You mentioned International Decorative Artisans League. That is a wonderful organization that I belong to. It's a nonprofit all about the continuation and the teaching of the decorative arts. And being a professional member of that comes with the benefit of an insurance policy that you can get for creatives, for decorative painters. And that's how my insurance goes through that organization.
Oh, that's wonderful. And you're buying the bulk with others, so it's obviously defraying the cost a little bit. So that's excellent. And you served as president.
I did. It was the hardest thing and the most rewarding thing that I've ever done. We have about 1,000 members. Again, we're a nonprofit. We host a convention almost every year. This year, a little different because of COVID, but we have a 4 to 5 day convention where we offer classes from wonderful instructors from all over the world.
Ah,
And people come in, and it's a wonderful camaraderie. You know, you're with your people that, because there's not a whole lot of decorative painters. Like, I only know of a few of us here in Richmond. If you are one and you're listening, please reach out and say hi.
right.
So the organization not only teaches and continues decorative painting, we also want to be a resource for the entire design community
Mhm.
to instruct designers and decorators and architects what decorative painting consists of and what we can do and how we can help solve problems for them and help them with their projects.
And
And
that,
we have,
oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go
I was
ahead.
to say, there's a link on the website that you can go and plug in your city and state, and a list of professional trained decorative artists will come up.
That's so fantastic that you are bringing that up and telling us the benefits for those who are maybe just starting out as a decorative artist.
Mhm.
Now you mentioned working with interior designers. You had told me that you worked with Tracy DeShazo, who
I
was
have.
just on
Yeah.
our previous guest here on
Yeah.
Richmond Business Babes. How did you collaborate with her? And do you have a network of interior designers who often reach out to you? And if so, how did you get to that point of being a resource for them?
I do. There's another international group, but I belong to a local chapter. It's called IFDA, International Furnishings and Design Association. We have a very active local chapter here in Richmond. I am on the board of that local chapter. But many years ago, when I got started, I went to my first couple meetings, and the IFDA consists of designers, decorators, vendors, everyone inclusively in the home design industry is
Mhm,
benefits from being in this group. And
mhm.
I decided that I liked this group, so I volunteered to be the greeter at the door at every event.
Oh,
So
I've heard that's
people,
the best way to go.
so I knew that everybody that
Yeah.
walked into that, I would have them sign the guest book, give them their name tag, we could talk, and so then I would know who they are, and they would know who I am. And that has been one of the most successful things I have ever done to build my business within the design community.
Fantastic. I'm glad you brought that up because a couple of shows back, I was trying to think of BNI, and I finally remembered it, Business Networking International. And there was a gentleman named Jim Roman, and he was real charismatic, and he reminded me of like uh was it Anthony Tony Robbins is his name?
Sure, yeah, Tony
He
Robbins.
might be
Mhm.
that type of guy, you know. And he said that when he was an unknown, so to speak, and just finding his footing and everything, that's what he did. And I thought that was brilliant. And I still think it's brilliant. I'm glad you did that. You're brilliant.
Well, it's scary. It's a scary thing to do, but if nobody knows who you are, they're not going to call you. So,
Well, you took that leap of faith and obviously it worked for you. So then flash forward to starting to work for designers such as Tracy DeShazo. How did that all come about?
um, there's many of the designers with IFDA that I work with. And so sometimes if a designer has a project and they don't want to put a wallpaper up, or the clientele doesn't want wallpaper, or again, we want to do a beautiful hand painted pattern on the ceiling,
Mhm.
they'll call me in, and I'll meet with the designer and the client, and I'll bring my portfolio of sample boards, and we'll just flip through and get ideas about what the client likes and what they don't like, and we'll talk color scheme
Mhm.
and kind of just go from there. It's a wonderful collaboration. The designers bring me into projects, but I'd like to hope that I am as valuable to them as they
Yeah,
are to me,
I'm
because I
sure you
offer
are.
them ideas and painting that they don't know would work well in that space.
Yes. No, I'm sure you are. Have you ever encountered a designer or a customer that you just left the house and said, "Wow, I don't want this project even if they give it to me. I don't want it. I don't like these people and I don't want to work with them." Has that ever happened?
Sure. And you learn to listen to your gut instinct.
Mhm.
It doesn't happen to me anymore because I've been, well, knock on wood, I've been doing this long enough that I feel like I can tell very quickly who I will be a good fit with and who won't. It happens more in the beginning of your career when you're taking every project because you're trying to grow your business.
Mhm.
I'm at the point now where I don't take every project. I'm only taking the projects that feel very artistic and that I feel passionate about doing.
You can be selective.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. That's a good position to be in. Do you work approximately 40 hours a week, or do you usually work 50 hours or 30 hours? Or it just
I
depends on what's
probably
on the
used to
schedule?
work 50 hours. I'd paint every day and then would come home in the evening and have to paint sample boards and do pricing and do invoices. And so, yeah, I worked a lot more than I do now because I'm getting a little pickier about what I'm taking. And that sounds terrible, not pickier. I'm just getting more selective
Yeah.
in the projects that make me happy. So it's a good mix of being out in someone's home painting and then here in the studio at home working on sample boards and colors and research for designers for projects, things like that. So it's a great mix, which I love. Not spending every day of the week anymore climbing the ladder.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Now, have you ever thought of, and maybe you already do this, Diane Williams of Art to Die For. Have you, have you ever thought about having, I'm going to say, an understudy or an assistant who is doing the more basic, less artistic, say, prep work so that you can maximize your time as an artist? Or do you already do that? You know who I'm thinking of? Remember Chihuly, who did toward
The
the
glass artist.
toward the end
Yes.
of is he dead now? Did he die?
No, he's not
Oh,
dead.
okay. I was gonna say toward the end of
He's
his
still
career.
putting
I'm
out
like,
beautiful glass art.
oh,
Yeah.
okay. I was like, oh, maybe he's not dead. I don't know, but I'm sure he's alive. I saw the exhibit with my daughter in
Oh, good. Yeah.
the Virginia Fine Arts Museum.
He
Uh,
has a new collection coming out, so he is
oh,
alive
good.
and well.
That's good. Well, God bless him. So anyway, but he had underlings, so to speak, doing sort of the basic, and then he'd put his touch on it. Didn't he do that? That's the impression I got.
Well, yes, because he had medical reasons for that. He had some eyesight trouble, and so he was not physically able to actually work on the blown glass anymore, I think, if I have my story correct. I have a group of fellow decorative painters that when I have a project that is bigger than a one-man project, that I bring down, and these are all their members of IFDA, I'm sorry, of IDEL with me, and they'll come in and spend a couple of days with me on the project together. And I also travel to work with other decorative painters when they have larger projects. And it's wonderful because we know each other's skill sets, and and it's a great collaboration.
That's wonderful. And then I would imagine that if it's a slow time, let's say for you, but a busy time for someone else who is a member of the International Decorative Artisans League, which is IDAL, right?
IDEL.
IDAL. That if it's a slow time for you, I would imagine that you would put the feelers out to the members that you're
Sure
used to working with, and the same vice versa with when you need help, and then so it just
exactly.
keeps everybody employed and or busy and going.
Yeah, that's exactly how it works.
That's great. Well, what advice would you give, Diane Williams, to any aspiring businesswoman who has, who wants to use her artistic abilities, such as you have done, and really make a true sustainable living out of it, such as you have done, and be very profitable and enjoy herself? What advice would you give looking back and reflecting over your 20-year career? What would you say?
My best advice would be to surround yourself with people who are good at what you want to be good at, because you can learn from them, and to take every opportunity you have to have tutorials or take classes or just be around the people who do what you want to do, and then get out there and tell people that you're doing it. Here I am. This is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. And the classes, you mentioned that IDOL, the International Decorative Artisans League, offers classes to its members only, or to anybody, but then you pay an extra fee if you're not a member. What is the membership cost, by the way?
Well, it depends. If you can be a professional member, or you can be a sponsor, or you can be just an individual member, which the individual membership, I believe, is $70. To be a professional member, it's $120, and then you are eligible to have the insurance through
Mhm.
IDAL. Yes, we have the classes are once a year. There's a mini convention coming up in St. Louis in
Oh,
May. That
and will
if you
that
go,
be virtual, or will that be
no,
a
it is
true
in
in
person. It is in person. And the
person?
website is decorativeartisans.org. We
Mhm.
also have our annual yearly convention coming up next January of 22, and that's in Scottsdale, Arizona. And that'll be a 5-day convention with classes and camaraderie. And there's events in the evenings. There are tours of the area. It's a wonderful time. So if anybody's interested in any of this, I'm happy to tell you everything about it. Just please reach out.
Oh, yes. And tell us your website.
It is www.art2diefor.com. And it's the
Spell it
same
out.
on it's
Yeah.
ARTTODIFOR. And it's the same. Facebook and Instagram are both Art to Die For.
Okay, great. Are you going to teach this year at the
I'm not teaching. No,
convention? No.
no,
Have you
I'm
done
not
that?
teaching. A little bit, and then yes, yeah, I have done a little bit of teaching. I would love to do more as I'm getting a little bit older and want to spend less time on the ladder. I would be very
Right.
open to those opportunities.
I understand. Well, that's wonderful. And I'm so glad that you made the time, Diane Williams of Art to Die For, to come to be on Richmond Business Babes. I'm always excited when we have guests who, like you, like Rebecca Constanzo, like Tracy DeShazo, who are making their living in an artistic form and just so passionate about it. And all our guests are always passionate. And I mean, even if you're a CPA, that's what you're passionate about, balancing
Right.
the, but I guess I always gravitated toward what you do, or what Tracy and Rebecca do, because I can remember years ago, my dad had a trucking business, and he brought home items every now and then that were like just not I don't know where he acquired them, but whatever. And I remember seeing sample books of wallpaper and sample books of fabric, and I would just look at those. I was just a kid. And then I still can remember seeing my first book of house plans, and I was like, oh, I love this. I don't know what happened then.
You missed your calling.
I know. But anyway, I was just so enamored with all the different colors and the floor plans and things like that. So I just get excited when I have the opportunity to speak to a guest such as yourself or Tracy or Rebecca. So much fun for me. But I thank you again for being on Richmond Business Babes. All the best to you, Diane Williams.
Thank you. It was lots of fun. Thank you.
All right. Take care now.
Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye. That was great. That was Diane Williams here on Richmond Business Babes, WRWK 93.9 FM, The Work. And if you've missed the show and want to catch it later, you can go on our Facebook page. And I'm going to turn this over to Ron, my producer. Thank you, Ron.
Well, wave goodbye to your audience.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
And
that went so fast. It always goes fast.
Well,